Hello, I'm Sunny. I am an actor on General Hospital, and many people really love both me and our General Hospital drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved General Hospital. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. If you do, I will keep coming every day with new updates for you. The next 2 weeks on General Hospital promise to unleash a wave of shocking revelations, emotional reunions, and dangerous secrets that threaten to change Port Charles forever. As the drama unfolds from July 13th through July 24th, the countdown to the final day of July sweeps on Monday the 20th raises the stakes higher than ever, ensuring that every decision carries lasting consequences. Old enemies begin watching each other with growing suspicion. Trusted allies discover hidden agendas, and long-buried truths finally rise to the surface when no one expects them. Valentin Cassadine finds himself questioning everything around him, while Jack Brennan races against time in a desperate search for something so important that failure simply isn't an option. New faces arrive with mysterious pasts, familiar favorites return home carrying emotional scars, and one explosive secret threatens to shake countless lives before these unforgettable weeks come to an end. Monday, July 13th marks an extraordinary milestone not only for the residents of Port Charles, but for television history itself, as General Hospital celebrates its incredible 16,000th episode. It is a remarkable achievement for a series that first premiered on April 1st, 1963, beginning life as a simple 30-minute daytime drama broadcast entirely in black and white before eventually making the transition to full color in 1967. That long legacy serves as the backdrop for yet another unforgettable chapter filled with emotional reunions and shocking developments. Among the biggest moments is the long-awaited return of Jason Morgan, whose first appearance immediately reminds viewers just how much he has endured. Before boarding a flight back to Port Charles, Jason is seen locked inside the WSB Black Site prison in Indonesia, his body bruised from captivity and his spirit carrying the unmistakable weight of everything he has sacrificed. Although Jocelyn Jack successfully negotiated Jason's release with Z, freedom does not instantly erase the damage he has suffered. The man who once appeared nearly unstoppable now looks exhausted both physically and emotionally, wearing the painful evidence of his imprisonment in every expression and every movement. His battered appearance tells a story that words cannot fully capture, hinting at the enormous challenges still waiting for him after he finally returns home. Even with the prison doors opening behind him, Jason's journey is far from over. Instead, it feels as though an even greater emotional battle is only beginning, one that will force him to redefine what his future truly looks like. Adding another layer of excitement to the milestone episode is the debut of Dr. Tristan Roberts, played by Dean Geyer, a gifted surgeon arriving in Port Charles in search of a brand new beginning. Tristan hopes to leave his complicated past behind, but fate has other plans as familiar faces from his previous life are already waiting in town, threatening to unravel the fresh start he desperately wants. His arrival also places him on an inevitable collision course with Britt Westbourne, setting the stage for a fiery professional rivalry that promises sparks from the very beginning. Neither doctor appears willing to back down, and their strong personalities are destined to clash inside the halls of General Hospital. What begins as professional disagreement may soon evolve into something much more personal, as buried history and unresolved emotions refuse to stay hidden. Elsewhere, Harrison Chase and Brooklyn Quartermain continue the painful conversation that began after Brooklyn confessed to framing Willow Tate. The confession hangs heavily between them, leaving Brooklyn consumed by guilt as she wonders whether her actions have pushed Chase closer to Willow instead of protecting the life they were trying to build together. Her heartbreaking question reveals how deeply she fears the consequences of her mistakes, while Chase struggles to process the betrayal and the damage it has caused. It becomes increasingly clear that simply admitting the truth will never be enough to repair what has been broken. Chase seems ready to insist that Brooklyn find some way to undo the harm she has caused, even if doing so proves almost impossible. Meanwhile, Lucas Jones turns his attention toward Britt Westbourne, asking what she intends to do now that she has another chance to rebuild her life. Britt prepares to return to work at General Hospital, determined to prove herself despite the cloud of controversy that still follows her. Her return promises constant friction with Dr. Tristan Roberts, unexpected friendship with Isaiah Gannon, and fresh conflict involving Elizabeth Weber. As if that weren't enough, Britt also levels a serious accusation against someone, creating another ripple of uncertainty throughout Port Charles. Carly Corinthos, meanwhile, makes no effort to hide her displeasure over Britt's return, ensuring that old rivalries will remain just as intense as ever. Political maneuvering also begins inside General Hospital when Laura Spencer leaves Tracy Quartermain absolutely stunned. Tracy can hardly believe what she is hearing, even asking Laura whether she has completely lost her mind. The source of her outrage appears tied to filling an open seat on the hospital board, a move Elizabeth praises as brilliant while unknowingly setting off another emotional explosion. If Laura truly intends to place Willow on the General Hospital board, Tracy's fury will reach an entirely new level. The decision would ignite another fierce power struggle, proving once again that even hospital politics can become deeply personal in Port Charles. At the same time, Anna Devane and Valentin Cassadine continue reconnecting after their emotional reunion. Their conversation naturally turns towards Charlotte Cassadine, reminding both of them how much family continues to shape every decision they make. Valentin explains the pardon he received from the WSB, while quietly admitting just how terrified he was for Anna's safety during everything that happened. Anna gently confesses that she had been frightened for herself as well, though she insists she is finally doing better now. The warmth between them culminates in a heartfelt embrace, but the peace doesn't last long as Anna is left questioning something she has just learned. Whether the surprise comes from Valentin's words or from another disturbing conversation with the ghostly presence of Peter August haunting her thoughts, it becomes painfully obvious that Anna's internal battle is far from over. Carly also finds herself caught in another emotionally charged conversation when she sits down with Jack Brennan. Something Jack says catches her completely off guard, particularly when he remarks that trusting someone can become a terrible mistake. His warning seems almost certainly directed toward Valentin, yet Carly remains determined to make Jack pay for everything that has happened between them. Her thirst for revenge refuses to fade, creating the possibility that anger may soon push her into making dangerous decisions of her own. As tensions continue building across Port Charles, it becomes increasingly clear that every alliance is being tested and every relationship is approaching a critical turning point. As the story moves into Tuesday, July 14th, the emotional aftermath of Jason Morgan's release begins to unfold, and the weight of everything he has endured follows him into every conversation. Freedom may have finally come, but it carries difficult questions that cannot be avoided. Jason finds himself explaining the choices that led him to sacrifice his own future, and those explanations are likely directed toward Danny Morgan, who deserves to understand why his father confessed to shooting Ross Cullum in order to protect Rocco Falconeri. It is a heartbreaking truth, one that reveals once again how far Jason is willing to go for the people he loves, even when it means giving up everything himself. Yet beneath his calm exterior lies another emotion simmering just below the surface, because learning that Danny revealed to Jack Brennan that Rocco was actually the one who shot Cullum may leave Jason deeply disappointed. Even so, Jason is not a man who lives in the past for long, and as he looks ahead, he begins outlining a future filled with major life changes that could permanently alter his place in Port Charles. Elsewhere, Elizabeth Weber refuses to let uncertainty cloud her judgment as she stands her ground despite the growing tension surrounding her. Throughout the week, Liz appears noticeably unsettled during a conversation with Dante Falconeri, her instincts telling her that something isn't adding up. She has watched too many strange events unfold to dismiss them as coincidence, and now those suspicions begin spilling into the open. Elizabeth may confide in Dante about the unusual circumstances involving both Jack Brennan and Drew Kane, pointing out disturbing details that continue to haunt her. Every unanswered question only deepens her concern, and the possibility that someone has been carefully manipulating events behind the scenes becomes harder to ignore. As Liz follows her instincts, she may unknowingly step closer to a truth that others have worked desperately to keep hidden. Jordan Ashford also faces disappointment when one of her efforts appears destined to fail. She arrives at Portia Robinson's home carrying what she hopes is a reasonable request, but the atmosphere quickly becomes tense as emotions rise on both sides. Jordan likely asks Portia to convince Isaiah Gannon to drop the charges against Curtis Ashford and show mercy for the sake of the unborn child Curtis is expecting with Portia. It is an appeal built on compassion rather than legal strategy, but compassion becomes difficult when old wounds remain painfully fresh. Curtis has continued targeting and harassing Isaiah, leaving Portia with little reason to believe forgiveness is warranted. The heartbreaking reality is that everyone involved is protecting someone they love, making compromise nearly impossible as personal loyalties continue colliding with painful consequences. At the same time, Kai Taylor is blindsided by a revelation that changes his understanding of recent events. The shocking discovery may point directly toward Willow as the person responsible for Drew ending up behind bars, a truth capable of reshaping several important relationships. While Kai struggles to process that possibility, another man begins quietly piecing together a mystery of his own. Valentine Cassadine's instincts refuse to stay silent, and the subtle changes in Anna Devane's behavior immediately catch his attention. She doesn't quite seem like herself anymore, and although she insists that everything is fine, Valentine senses that something deeper is wrong. Unknown to nearly everyone around her, Peter August's lingering influence continues invading Anna's thoughts, and Valentine's growing suspicion suggests he may be one of the first people to realize that the woman he loves is fighting an invisible battle within her own mind. Wednesday, July 15th, brings another dramatic shift as Anna becomes increasingly determined to uncover the truth hidden beneath layers of deception. Her investigation gains valuable momentum thanks to Liesl Obrecht, who provides an important clue by sketching the mysterious room beneath Windermere. Liesl's memory confirms that Anna was being held somewhere on Spoon Island, giving investigators a tangible lead after weeks of uncertainty. Although the sketch may seem like nothing more than lines on paper, it represents hope at a time when hope has become desperately scarce. Every clue pulls Anna one step closer to understanding what really happened, but every answer also threatens to expose dangers she never imagined. The closer she gets to the truth, the more dangerous the journey becomes. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Jacks carries a secret that has weighed heavily on her conscience, and she finally reaches the point where she can no longer keep it buried. In an emotional conversation with Liesl Obrecht, Jocelyn is expected to reveal the heartbreaking truth about Cassius Faison's final moments. Rather than dying as the villain many believe him to be, Cassius sacrificed himself as a hero. That revelation has the power to transform how his legacy is remembered, replacing misunderstanding with painful admiration. For Liesl, hearing that truth would undoubtedly stir overwhelming emotions, forcing her to confront both grief and pride at the same time. It is a moment capable of rewriting history, proving once again that appearances rarely tell the whole story in Port Charles. Elsewhere, Nina Reeves and Jack Brennan recognize that time is slipping away, leaving them with no choice but to move quickly. Together, they begin planning their next move, knowing they must travel to Windermere in search of the black box stolen by Ross Cullum. That missing piece of evidence may hold the key to preventing even greater tragedy, making the mission one of the most important either of them has ever undertaken. Summer spoilers confirm that Brennan eventually locates the black box, but victory may arrive far too late to stop Drew from carrying out whatever course he has already set into motion. The discovery offers hope while simultaneously raising terrifying new questions, creating another race against time where every second matters. Elsewhere, Curtis Ashford expresses heartfelt gratitude, most likely toward Jordan for trying to advocate on his behalf despite the impossible circumstances. Even when her efforts fail, Curtis understands the sacrifice she made by reaching out to Portia, and that gesture reminds him that not everyone has given up on him. At the same time, Gio Palmieri and Trina Robinson receive incredible news that finally brings a welcome burst of happiness amid the chaos surrounding everyone else. Their exciting development is expected to involve the musical showcase Brooke Lynn has been organizing, opening new doors that could transform both of their futures. For a brief moment, the heavy atmosphere surrounding Port Charles gives way to optimism, allowing dreams to shine through the darkness. It serves as a reminder that even in a town filled with secrets and heartbreak, hope still has a place.